So, I wanted to share a story. This is something sweet, something charming that I experienced this year, and I thought this is a good time to share it with others. So, I lost my job a few months ago. It was just like it happens. Generally, you come in one morning, call to your manager's office, and you're told that you have to leave. And typically, the way this happens is that your team is called to a meeting which you're not invited to. And while you're packing up your things and leaving the building, the team is notified, and the timing has to be perfect so that you don't get to see them, they don't see you, and it's smooth and painless. So it happened that way. I left, and pretty much an hour or so after I left, I got a message from a person on my team. They said they were so shocked to hear the news and they wished me the best of luck and they asked me to stay in touch. Then I got a LinkedIn connection request from another member on the team. And there was a third person who I had worked with for a long time who was traveling at the time. So after I got home, I sent an email to this person telling them this had happened and I was okay, and also telling them how thankful I was that I got the time to work with them, that I was grateful for the years that I got to work with them. I really learned a lot from working with them. And I sent that email. And this person received the email when got back to town and responded back to me saying how shocked they were and wishing me the best of luck and letting me know that I could count on their help anytime I wanted. So very sweet. And then a couple of people from other teams, they texted me, called me, saying, very nice messages. But that's it. I had been in this place for almost 5 years, and uh, so many people I knew. People knew of me, I knew of them. We passed each other in the hall. It wasn't a very large team, so they clearly knew. At some point, they would have known that I had gone. And yet, I got no other messages. My own team, people who saw me every day, who sat by me, uh, not one message. So, losing a job is unsettling in its own way, although, to be honest, I was a little relieved this happened because it was nearing the end. I was happy to leave. But what really was saddening, disappointing, was the response or the lack of response from all the people I worked with. And I wondered, how does this happen? Why does it happen this way? Because there had been people who had been let go on the team, and I and there were people with whom I had a connection. Whatever, whether I had worked with them or not, there was a shared connection, some warmth. So I wrote to them, kept in touch with them. It seemed very natural for me because I had sympathy for them, considering what they were going through. But when I left, hardly anyone reached out to me. I thought, well, maybe they don't really have a connection with me. They don't really, never really thought of me as a friend or someone they wanted to be in touch with. Or there was another thing that I thought may have happened, and this is my theory. I feel that when we spend a lot of time in a certain environment, we kind of start taking on the values of that environment. So we start embodying those values in a way that we ourselves may not be aware of. So if you spend all your time in a corporate environment, whether it's India, United States, wherever, you start to take on the values of that environment. You exhibit, you embody the values of that environment. And corporate life, it's all business, nothing's personal, everyone's expendable. It's always profit over people. So even if you're a person who's genuine, spontaneous, warm, and believes in human connection and the value of human connection, understands that you may spend all your life in this environment and you may start to view other people the same way uh, the business views these other people if you're not careful. Now, I have always thought of myself as an inexperienced adult, someone who's not very good at being an adult. I have I'm a very spontaneous, natural person, and it was very hard for me to be any other way. In most environments, I respond in a very spontaneous, natural way, almost like a child. Sometimes it's not always a good thing, but it's who I am. So, and I mulled over this for a long time, wondering why was it happening this way? Did people genuinely not care, or maybe they didn't know how to talk to me, or they just didn't know how to let me know their concern, or they had just forgotten me after working for almost 5 years in this place. But anyway, this is a happy story, as I said. So, what happened was that a few months out, uh, I got a voicemail. So I had all the time that I had been at this place, I used to eat lunch by myself. I used to get lunch from home, and our floor was on the eighth floor. We had a gorgeous view of downtown Atlanta. I had a great view on this huge window, and it was beautiful. So I would eat lunch by myself every day. I wasn't much of a talker. Just sat by myself and ate lunch. There was a woman who used to sit next to me, and she got her lunch, and she used to do Sudoku all the time. And one day we ended up talking. I don't know, she asked me about my lunch, or I asked her about hers, and she offered me something, I offered her. I don't know. And then she asked me one day if I had ever done Sudoku, and I said I hadn't. So she said, "Well, would you like to try it?" I said, "Sure." So she had a bunch of Sudoku sheets. So she gave one to me, and she showed me how to do it, and I enjoyed it, started doing it. And I was pretty good at it, I think. It was pretty simple, I think. And she was very impressed. She said, "Oh, you're pretty good at it." And she gave me more sheets. And then we started talking, and we didn't really share much about ourselves or whatever, or work, not at all. It was more about Sudoku, and she would give me little tips, things, little tools she found to jumpstart her car, or coupons, or things like that. Just general talk. And then Sudoku also. So this went on for maybe a few months, maybe a year. I can't remember. More, I think almost maybe 1 year or a year. Yeah. So when I was gone, when I left, I didn't have a chance to tell her or anything. And a few days out, she missed me and she came looking for me. She asked someone from my team, and they told her that Lakshmi is no longer here. And she took my phone number. She called me, and I wasn't able to take the call. She left a voicemail. She was so upset that I was no longer there. She said she missed me at lunch, especially, and she really wished me the best of luck, and she hoped that I was fine. And of course, I called her back. And she was so concerned, and she said, "Well, what work do you do? Let me see, what kind of a title would be looking for? What kind of a job are you looking for? And I'll do my best, and we should stay in touch." And we stayed in touch. We went for lunch recently, and she gave me a bunch of Sudoku sheets. I was just so blown by that openness, that freedom of spirit, that genuineness, which we never worked together. She probably didn't even know much about me, but she connected to me at such a basic level. She didn't really need to know anything about me. But it was so spontaneous, so natural, so genuine, and it was the sweetest thing I've experienced in a long time. I thought I'd share it.